Direct News TV. January 12, 2024. Israel's war on Gaza live, Israeli army steps up deadly attacks. The Palestinian Red Crescent says 9 Palestinians have been killed and 13 wounded in an Israeli airstrike in the Al-Mashallah area of Deir el-Balah in the central Gaza Strip. Israel presents its defense at the International Court of Justice in The Hague in a case brought by South Africa alleging the country is committing genocide in Gaza. Internet, telecom services cut across Gaza, Paltel. All internet and telecom services in Gaza have been cut as a result of the Israeli bombardment of the Palestinian territory, according to the main telecommunications operator. We regret to announce that all telecom services in the Gaza Strip have been lost due to the ongoing aggression. Gaza is blacked out again, said Paltel in a post on X. It's the 6th blackout to occur since October 7. Yemen demonstrators say protests in support of Houthis, Palestinians to continue. Tens of thousands of Yemeni demonstrators have taken to the Sabine Square, one of the biggest squares in Sana'a, to express their anger over the US-UK attacks against Houthi positions. They have also taken to the streets to say that they are going to continue their protests and also to call on the Houthis to continue their operations on the Red Sea in order to put more pressure on Israel to lift its siege on the people in Gaza and end the war. Demonstrators here have also made it clear just hours after the attacks that they are not afraid of the air raids. They are adamant about continuing their protests and their support of the Palestinian people despite all of the threats made by the US and UK. The Yemenis hope that the international community could put an end to what they described as the genocidal war on Gaza committed by Israel. Protests break out in Yemen after US-UK attacks. Tens of thousands of Yemenis gathered in several cities to hear their leaders condemn US and British attacks on their country in response to attacks by Houthis on Red Sea shipping. Your strikes on Yemen are terrorism, said Muhammad Ali al-Houthi, a member of the Houthi Supreme Political Council, referring to the US. The United States is the devil. The Iran-aligned Houthis began attacking shipping lanes and firing drones and missiles toward Israel, saying they would not stop until Israel's offensive on Gaza, launched after Hamas attacked Israel on October 7, stopped. 11 killed in Israeli bombardment on a home in Deir el-Balah. Al Jazeera's Ashraf Abu Amr reports that 11 people have been killed in an Israeli attack on the Fayyad family home in the Mashallah area, south of Deir el-Balah. The owner of the house, Bashir Fayyad, was killed along with his daughter and 2 sons. The home was hosting other displaced families. The bodies reached the hospital in torn pieces, Abu Amra said. People were killed in tents set up near the house. Who are the Houthis? A simple guide to the Yemeni group. After a series of attacks on ships in the Red Sea led by the Houthis, the United States and the United Kingdom have initiated military operations in Yemen in retaliation. The Houthis, an Iran-aligned group situated in Yemen, have condemned these actions as barbaric, and contend that their own attacks are a reaction to Israel's air raids in Gaza and the perceived inaction of the international community in addressing the situation. So who are the Houthis? And will the latest escalation affect Yemen's already fragile peace on the home front? South Africa, Israel failed to disprove genocide case before ICJ. Israel failed to disprove the genocide case presented before the International Court of Justice, South Africa's Justice Minister said. Following Israel's defense at the ICJ, Ronald Lamola, who led the South African delegation, told reporters in The Hague, no matter what some individual within the group of Palestine in Gaza may have done, and no matter how great the threat to Israel's citizens might be, genocidal attacks on the whole of Gaza, with the intent of destroying them cannot be justified at all. We believe and remain very confident that those facts are still in violation of the Genocide Convention, he added. UK sees itself as smaller partner to US in Yemen attacks. The British insist that the Houthi attacks on international shipping make it legitimate for the British and the Americans to attack Houthi targets. The British military involvement included 4 Typhoon jets attacking 2 targets overnight. The Omanis, Yemen's neighbors, are saying the attacks were against Oman's advice and will only add fuel to an extremely dangerous situation. The British insist that they were justified. Defense Minister James Heappey was on TV channels saying there were no plans for any further attacks in the immediate future and that it was a limited, important and necessary response to what had been happening in recent days and weeks. And Foreign Secretary Lord David Cameron has issued a video statement in the last hour adding that the attacks were necessary, limited, proportionate and legal response. That said, there are concerns about escalation. Parliament is not sitting today, and legislators won't be back until Monday. So, there isn't an opportunity for them to vote and discuss and debate this. Israel's FM Israel Katz says, no basis for South Africa's claims against Israel. Israel's foreign minister, Israel Katz has accused South Africa of supporting Hamas and says that the African country's allegations against Israel lack foundation. There is no basis for South Africa's claims against Israel, he said, denouncing the double standards of some of the countries. On the contrary, no evidence was presented for this, only evidence of a moral defensive war like no other. South Africa itself violates the Genocide Convention by supporting the terrorist organization Hamas, which calls for the elimination of the State of Israel, he said. Spain won't join potential EU mission in Red Sea, report. Spain says it will not take part in a possible European Union naval mission to help protect Red Sea shipping following attacks from Yemen's Houthis, the AFP news agency reports. We don't know yet if the European Union is going to do a new mission, but if it does, Spain is not going to take part in it in the Red Sea because it is already taking part in 17 missions, Defense Minister Margarita Robles told reporters in Madrid. Israel plans to sue International Hockey Federation over exclusion, report. Israel says it plans to sue the International Ice Hockey governing body due to its exclusion from the World Championships based on safety and security concerns, according to the Jerusalem Post. The Ice Hockey Federation of Israel said it will file a claim with the Court of Arbitration for Sport with support from the country's Olympic Committee to protest Wednesday's decision to exclude the team. The International Ice Hockey Federation, IIHF, had said it would prevent the Israeli national team from competing not because of the Israeli government's killing of close to 24,000 people in Gaza, but to keep players safe. Director of the Ambulance Center back in Gaza after release. The Palestinian Red Crescent Society says its colleague Ani Katab, who was detained by Israel for 51 days, has been released and is back in the Gaza Strip. Katab, the director of Khan Yunis's ambulance center, was reunited with his family. At least 6 members of the PCRS continue to be held by Israel for the 22nd day in a row, PRCS said. The ICJ sitting is now closed. Israel's legal team has concluded its oral arguments, and ICJ President Joan Donoghue has ended today's proceedings. This also brings to an end the 2-day hearing into South Africa's case of genocide against Israel in its war on Gaza. Health Ministry, almost 24,000 Palestinians killed in Gaza since October 7. At least 23,708 Palestinians have been killed and 60,005 wounded in Israeli attacks in the Gaza Strip since the start of the war, the Palestinian Health Ministry said. Some 151 Palestinians have been killed and 248 injured in the past 24 hours, the ministry added. About 7,000 others are missing under the rubble and presumed dead, but are not counted as part of the official death toll. Hamas and Islamic Jihad slam US-UK attacks against Yemen. Hamas and the Islamic Jihad movements have condemned the US and UK attacks against Yemen. While we highly value the position of Yemen and its heroic people in standing with our Palestinian people in the Battle of Al-Aqsa flood, we affirm that the brutal aggression against Yemen is an uncalculated act of terrorism, carried out under the influence of the Zionist occupation and its extremist Nazi leadership, and will only increase tensions in the region, Hamas said in a statement. The Islamic Jihad group said the attacks confirmed that the U.S. administration is the one conducting the genocidal war against the Palestinian people in Gaza. Will Morocco stay the course of Israel's normalization? Despite rising public anger in Morocco over Israel's war on Gaza, the normalization deal between Morocco and Israel will likely hold, analysts have told Al Jazeera. Morocco's recognition of Israel came at the end of 2020 when it signed the Abraham Accords, a United States strategy from 2020 that saw the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain and Sudan move to normalize relations with Israel in return for various concessions. My name is Kingsley. Please like, share, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be the first to be notified whenever we post. You won't regret it.